our school had a school nurse 5 days a week,
Uh-huh.
which is so important, not only for the health, but also the social, emotional well-being of children.
Tell us a little bit about Miss Seed. Who was she and why was she so important to this project?
Miss Seeds was the principal who was here at the time when the school was being designed. She had been principal of the lab school prior to that, and the lab school had been in other locations in Los Angeles. But at the time when they were considering bringing UCLA Lab School here, this site was chosen, and it was chosen because of its incredible potential and the natural beauty that we had. And so the way that I think of Miss Seeds, and also thinking about Richard Neutra discussing this, is how do we engage children in learning about life and its natural beauty through the space that we have. And Miss Seeds was someone who based her educational philosophy on John Dewey, whose famous line is, "Education is life," right? This then becomes a laboratory and a place of experimentation for children. And so children's learning is not contained to the classroom, but rather flows to the outdoors, to the natural beauty of our environment here. So children study our creek, they study ecosystems, and they learn about it firsthand through, what is all around them every day.
And my father felt that we evolved on the steppes of Africa for hundreds of thousands of years, and nature was central to how we learned and thought. And so he thought it was really important that both at home and at the school, that there was this linkage between the indoors and outdoors,
Yes.
which is possible here in California
Yes.
in a way that not so easy in some other climates.
One of the things that we really strive for is to have children experience the aesthetics in life. Children notice details. And so the fact that a child could sit here and see the environment is something that I think that they'll view as an artist, but also as a scientist. One of the things that I think that this area does is it brings that flow, so that there's fluidity between two communities that are very different. So this community is a dual immersion community, and this community is English and English only, right? They're learning academic language in Spanish, and their academic language development is in English, yet they have an opportunity to come together, to play, and to learn from one another as well. Typically in schools, you isolate classrooms. You don't bring them together.
Right.
And so to me, that's also symbolic of what it is to have a democratic learning community. We come together and there's opportunities to learn from one another. We don't learn in isolation. Even though we're two separate classrooms, we can come together as a broader community. Yeah, it's beautiful. This is a very, very special area. These are rocks that were blessed by a Chumash descendant. And what this is a place where children can come and where they can solve problems when they're having some challenges. And this is the place where they would face one another and resolve those challenges. And so they're peace rocks. It was the class of 2012 that gave this as a class gift to our school. And I think this is just a beautiful way, again, of connecting the past to the present.
Right.
And for children to understand that we're a part of the cycle. And this is one teacher who has focused on the architecture of our school tremendously, and has shared that also with our children. And I think that's really important for you to know, because it's a learning opportunity that you've created for our kids.
We have educators coming here from all over the world, and the environment is always the first thing. In fact, sometimes we have to tell them, don't go beyond that, because they're overwhelmed by what we have in the environment that we've created. They feel like it's such a rich learning environment, that sometimes we have to say, yes, but yes, it is a rich learning environment, but also look at what the kids are doing, not just what, the patios and the creek and the bridges and the outside spaces. That seeing how that all works together is what I think makes this school so magical, is that it's how it was designed and then how it's evolving, as we go. So I think that's really exciting.
When I walk through the school and I think about Ms. Seeds and Richard Neutra, I think that they didn't underestimate the potential of children. I think they realized that children have tremendous potential. And when you think about philosophy and architecture and how it's important to come together, I think they created a school where the world and nature calls to children to experience it. And so instead of having walls, that block the view of the world, right? They were able to have a place where nature is abundant and where the windows lead children to nature. And so I believe that Miss Seeds understood that children are innately curious and that we have to build on that curiosity. And so I think that your father was listening to all of that and responded to it with an architecture that supports that kind of learning.